welcome to another Divine Partnership Coaching video. This is going to be Path of the Empress, Step 4. And what I want to talk about briefly is learning to understand and learning to navigate your vibrational positioning system, which is primarily your emotions and your thoughts. And I can't take credit for this. I first heard it from Abraham Hicks, and it was honed and well-defined through also listening to others like Eckhart Tolle and Tony Robbins and Ram Dass, Sadhguru, and plenty of others who have also found this very beneficial. In any case, this is an important part of the Empress path, the divine feminine, and masculines, when you do your Freaky Friday switch and you learn to become an Empress for a while, you will also learn this. In any case, the primary thing is to recognize that your emotions and your thoughts are not your identity. They're not one and the same. You are the observer of those things. That's the being that you are. You are the one that observes the thoughts that pop into your mind. You are the one that observes the emotions in your body. Especially as you become more awake and more enlightened, you start to recognize that there is a certain, at first, kind of eerie separateness between you and the things that you observe going on within yourself. And then you start to get more comfortable with it and recognize, oh, like this is, it's like developing the control center. And what's important to recognize is that you're developing a certain level of discernment. And that discernment is what's going to help lead you both to your own authenticity, your own healing, and to your divine masculine. And to whatever form of spirit that is on your path to connect with. This is extremely important for this, and especially as you come to understand what options there are for your work with the collective conscious, too. And a first good place to start is, and I'm, for most Empresses that I've talked with and from my own experience, if you've gone through a big separation or there's a lot of contrast going on between you and your divine partner, you are likely to reach out to others for assistance, whether that's other people or Google or coworkers, friends, things like that, and you're going to be provided with all sorts of contrast. You're going to have some people that are like, oh, you know what? I could totally understand what they've done. That's very human. Or maybe it's like a midlife crisis thing. Or, you guys have a long history. There's no way that this is just done like that. This has got to be something bigger. And you're going to have other people who are like, I don't know. I don't have any advice for you. I don't know. And you're going to have other people that are very like, victim mindset, like, oh, that's horrible, I can't believe that they treated you that way, and you should do this and this and this and this. And often when you are in victim mindset, we do a victim villain sort of thing. So if you're, get somebody saying, oh, you were victimized, they're probably also saying, well, you should do this thing to hurt them, or you should stop talking to them, or you should go no contact, or, a whole number of things that you're going to run into people in their pain body who are running off of trauma responses from their own, I'm going to say from their own healing journey to where they're still pretty far behind in terms of that healing into where, well, I mean, you might be in that space with them, you're attracting them, but the question is, do you want to stay there with them? And if you don't, then the first thing to do is when you talk with somebody, yes, take in what they're saying. Be an active listener. That's a good thing. But also be observant of your own body and what's going on. And your emotions and thoughts. You've got all three going on at all times. And at first it might be a little overwhelming, but just take in little bits. Start first with, how do you feel in your body? If you've got one person saying, you know what, your divine partner has just got some stuff to work out, and in the meantime, clearly so do you. So why don't you think about what it is that you would want to work on if it was just you? What would you want to do? And if that feels good, like there doesn't feel like there's any weights or pressures in your body or any pains or anything, then think about how your emotions feel. Do you feel comfortable with that? Do you feel discomfort? Do you feel distress? Do you feel excitement? Do you feel contentment? Do you feel satisfaction with that idea? You know, if you have a positive vibration about anything neutral to positive, then that's a good way to go, at least in terms of it's a good path to explore. If, however, when somebody suggests, the humanness in it, you think, no, that's horrible. No, they're just being a dick. And you don't, like, you feel icky about the idea of being open and forgiving, then one, examine, is that your pain body, or is that your vibration telling you that the thoughts about them being an icky person are bad? Like, don't associate with the feelings, but really think about it, and then sit and maybe like take a pen and pencil and write out each one. Like, write out, this person has been mean to me, and think about, how does that feel? Does it feel neutral? Does it feel, because this person has been mean to me, it's just a statement, right? Now, write out something that is harsh, judgmental, right? This person just wanted to hurt me. Write that out. Now, how does that feel? Like, do you feel angry? Do you feel depressed? Do you feel vengeful? Because those are low vibration feelings, and that's your GPS saying that's out of alignment with your inner being and your core being. And if you go up from there and then you write a new statement saying, this person hurt me because they were hurting. Now, how does that feel? Probably a little more neutral. Okay, so take it up a notch from there. This person made a decision they thought was best for everyone, and it hurt me. Maybe that's a little bit better. Maybe that's a little bit more empathetic. Then you're getting up into, more neutral vibrations, right? That's a little bit less frustrating of a thought. And then take it another step. This is a few jumps up from there, but this person provided contrast for me to see what within me needed to be healed. Now, that thought, at least for me, is it's fun because it's embracing the absurd, but it also feels empowering because I'm no longer in a low vibration where I am angry about something that somebody has done that triggered me, and I'm able to take that trigger and turn it into personal empowerment, and also to see not only the value in contrast, but to really see what other people are doing, not just from their own intentions, but how they play out as cooperative components from spirit to help me get where I want to go. And it's in those moments that you really start to answer the question, who am I? Who do I want to be? And what am I manifesting? And as you start to get more contrast and you start to process those things, you get more and more clear. You develop your compass. And as you continue to choose, who do I want to be? Like, for me, I want to be an authentic and kind person. And for me, kindness is not the same as niceness, and it's not always in alignment with politeness, but it is always about empathy and unconditional love and doing the right thing even when it's not popular and even when it is sometimes challenging. And authenticity for me is being real about how I feel and feeling worthy of feeling how I feel, even in the crazier moments, and expressing myself clearly for me. And sometimes that does include, sometimes in my authentic nature, I want to express something to someone else so that they know something, but it is for me. I want to be authentic. I want to be kind. And I want to be fun. Those are like my three things in there, and so those become my focus. And each time contrast comes my way, I practice what Abraham Hicks calls removing others from the equation, which is that first step in learning your emotional GPS, your VPS, is remove other people from the equation. So if you have somebody who is telling you, "Oh no, just go no contact. Don't talk to them. Don't even think about them. Just work on you, or go date someone else. Go take pictures and make them jealous, or stop talking to them so that they'll miss you." And like there's lots of things that people will suggest. And when you sit with that and you really, don't take action right away. Just sit and think about what that does in your body. And each time somebody provides you that contrast, think about it. Is that in alignment with who I am and or who I want to be? Because each moment, each contrast provides us with a moment to think about who we want to be, to choose, to decide. Is this me or is this me? Am I this person that does things that get even with other people, that manipulate them, or am I this person that has faith in people and that allows the universe to steer, that is not wrapped up in a need for control? Which is another one of my focuses, is like releasing the need for control and the need to know everything, because those have been things that I have learned through doing what I am offering to you that were challenges for me and that provided walls for anybody that wanted to be with me that were insurmountable to climb. And in each moment, when somebody says go no contact, what I would do is stop and think about what they're saying, because spirit, let's say for just sake of embracing the absurd, the spirit does not have a mouth. So it uses other things as mouthpieces, other people, tarot cards, astrology, birds, totems, visions, dreams, things like that. It uses other ways to communicate with us. So each person that talks to you gives you something, whether it's something for your personal journey, or whether it's a call to assist them for something, or it's a message about what's coming ahead with you and your divine partner, or you and a karmic, or them and their karmic, or work, or things like that. I mean, there are signs and synchronicities everywhere. I'll do another video about that. But when you get pieces of advice or suggestions, or plenty of people are pretty forceful about, you should do this thing, whatever it is, stop and just think about, how does that feel? Do I feel tense when I think about doing something manipulative? Do I feel authentic? Does it feel authentic to do that? Does it feel kind to do that, or honest? For me, authenticity is very much wrapped up in honesty and genuineness and honor. I mean, that's my tattoo, death before dishonor. Like, what is it about this that, like, is there something that feels in alignment? And if it doesn't feel in alignment, if I experience feelings of anger or animosity or resentment or sadness or depression or sickness, things of that nature, then I know that those are not in alignment with my inner being. And I can choose to then sit there and think, okay, if I've attracted this person who's giving me this advice, or I am in a situation where I'm around people who think in this way, then there is something within me that is, because like attracts like, that's how this universe works. So if I'm around them, I have attracted them, or I've been attracted to them to heal something in me. And that removes them from the equation. So no longer do I feel anger or resentment towards them. They're just providing me with an indication of where I am at. So a reflection for me to look at, how am I feeling? Do I feel angry when I'm around these people? Okay, then it's probably not the people. It's probably something within me that needs to be healed. And that starts to feel good. That feels healthy. That feels neutral. And then I can decide where to go from there. And this becomes important through your journey too, like when you're focusing on yourself and deciding, like, what do I want to do? Do I want to go to the gym? Do I want to work in the garden? Do I want to contact my DM? Do I want to work with the kids, if you have any? Do I need to... There are even moments when, in fact, you will be called, and I'll do a deeper video about this, you will be called to heal old cycles where you did choose low vibrational things. Especially right now, we're going through kind of a big 360. It's a reset to go through and heal mother-father wounds and karma and things that we have... I'm going to say heal negative karma. We're being given the opportunity to create new karma, new positive karma. And that can sometimes occur by having repeats of old cycles come to you. Like for me, it was a repeat of a former cycle where, like in the past, before I knew about divine partnership and things like that, I knew who my DM was. We've always had that connection, but the story of us has been... Let's just say it's going to make an interesting novel one day, because there are a lot of plot twists and a lot of chapters that provide a lot of interesting contrast and the sort of absurdity that makes it the kind of story you just can't make up. And in the past, I had moments where I was not authentic about how I felt, and I did not tell him, and I assumed that because he was not telling... I didn't know about the reflection, so he was doing the same thing as not telling me how he authentically felt about me. And he would go to deal with something in his vibration to make himself either more available for me, or to understand himself and do some healing. And because I was in my insecurities, I would assume that he just abandoned me. And I did, at the time, I didn't have any... I didn't have the vocabulary or the knowledge to understand that that was my pain body. And if there was somebody else in the vicinity that I could attach myself to not deal with my feelings, and to have a distraction to pull my attention away from how deeply I wanted to go and hunt down my divine masculine, but I didn't want to feel like a weirdo or a stalker, and I didn't want to put pressure on him from the situation that he was in. And so I chose distraction. I chose other people. And in examining that, like, that stuff came back to me during the separation, was that there was opportunities to again choose distraction. And like I did and I didn't. I examined where I had already done that more recently before separation, and I sat with it and I thought about, okay, because the cycle kept coming. There would be somebody else that would come around, and instead of looking at them as like the thing that needed to be worked on, I removed them from the equation and said, okay, there is something in this cycle that I need to heal. How do I feel about it? Like when I think about interacting with them, relationships with them, like it doesn't feel fun. It doesn't feel authentic. It doesn't feel in alignment with who I am. But I also recognize that there is value in some distraction, and it kept coming back because I was over focusing on the divine path. That's why the step ones are focus on you. And I'm fully aware that in putting that step one out, that even in my own process, there's a bit of absurdity in that, because you will constantly feel called to your partner, and they will feel called to you. And when you do stop thinking about them, they will feel that energetic pull and start thinking about you and pulling you back into them. So it's not said without understanding of how things are going. It's very much understanding. It's still what you got to do. And when those cycles came back, and I kept having, they weren't quite X's, but they were definitely distractions that came through, I thought about, how can I heal this cycle? And a couple of things occurred to me. Is one, that this was something that was unhealed between me and my divine masculine for a very long time. Was when I had, the last few times I had chosen distraction and insecurity over working on myself and my self-worth, and making it clear that I was choosing him in those processes. And so it was that part that I focused on. I removed him from the equation. I removed the distractions from the equation and said, okay, I need to work on me. I need to choose me. Like, that's been part of the problem that has occurred through our past interactions, is that I have not been choosing me. I've been in a very codependent space. And the other part of that too was looking at, okay, as divine partners, I mean, we all start out as karmics. We all start out triggering each other's deepest fears. And then, like, when you line up with your divine masculine, divine feminine, you start to learn to trigger like, the trigger's going to be there either way. You can either choose to allow it to control you, or you can control it. And part of learning to control it is not controlling it, but just embracing the absurdity of it. And so, as I was learning to do that, my thought was, when I last chose, when this big wounding happened, when I last chose somebody, I didn't know until later, but they had intentionally created that rift between us in their own karmic path. There's no judgment there, but they had ensured that there was no opportunity for me and my divine partner to connect and realize what was going on. And because I was in my insecurities, I did not go out of my way to connect with my divine partner and say, hey, you know what? I'm just doing this until our paths are both in alignment again. I mean, I wasn't even thinking of it in that way. I was thinking in a sour, like, insecure, oh, he doesn't want me and I'm not worthy kind of way. But the newer way is the way that I'm going, this is what I need to do now. I need to focus on me. I'm getting, I need to focus on my work and my self-worth, and I need to be open. I need to feel like the kind of person who is worthy of exploring and making mistakes and still being chosen by my divine masculine. And I need to be open to my divine masculine only being friends with me, or different paths being open, because I'm locking things out of place by being so specific about things. And so it became, by listening to my emotional GPS and going, does this feel good? Does this feel neutral? Does this feel low vibrational? Is it low vibe, high vibe, neutral vibe? And there's plenty of times that I chose low vibe instead of high vibe. But as I started to more and more remove other people from the equation and listen to my emotional GPS, the more things started to heal. And the more the people in my vibration that were simply there to trigger some sort of healing naturally disappeared on their own. And then the more I saw people from my soul tribe, including my divine masculine, lining up with me, doing healing work, doing things that either I had been asking for a while, or that they did on their own that I just totally loved, or, you know, meeting with more friends who were definitely in the same higher vibrational place that I was, that could help me, that could help reflect the real me to me, and to do the work that needed to be done on myself, and to bring the focus onto myself in a healthy way. And that all started from learning to understand my vibrational positioning system, my emotions, and my thoughts. Like, there, it also helped with a certain amount of discernment, of recognizing, like, is this my emotions? Is this my masculine's emotions? Is this a family member's emotions? If they're mine, then they're there to tell me that whatever, like, if it's an angry vibration, then whatever it is that I'm doing is not in alignment with my inner being or manifesting what I want to manifest. So it could be something as simple as I'm cleaning out my workspace, and if it just feels awful, that's not what I should be doing right now. If it feels, if I go and go to work in the garden and it feels really, really good, and it feels positive, then that's what I should be doing. If going out for karaoke for a little bit feels neutral, but it feels neutral on the positive alignment, it feels better than like sitting at home or sitting in the car and feeling sad for myself, I'm going to go for the karaoke. If talking to my soul tribe or talking to my DM feels good or neutral, anything above neutral, and the other options to of people to talk to or things to do feel low vibe, I'm going to go for the one that feels neutral and up, because that's who I'm choosing to be. A person who is consistently, not constantly, but consistently in a good vibration, feeling kind and joyful and authentic and loving and healing. Like, I'm always being given opportunities to choose that, and so are you. That is our free will. We always have the ability to choose how we think and how we allow ourselves to feel in terms of where we stay. We can't always control the trigger, but where we stay, and that includes staying in situations that are not healthy for us, and that can be staying, if you're with family that is not in alignment with you, and you have done your inner work and they're still in a low vibration, then I mean, you have several choices. You can continue to work. You can continue to work on you and just have faith that they'll come around. You can decide to move. You can decide to spend less time around them until you are in a more unshakable vibrational state. You can do any number of things. You could decide, well, they're just a lost cause, and then lose that value in that. Same thing with, if you're in a third party situation or you're wrapped up with a karmic, you can, like, in using my emotional GPS and some of the karmics that have reached back out to me, I have decided, you know what, I'm going with friends only for a while. I really don't. I'm enjoying dating myself, and I'm not looking to repeat my past cycles, and I feel worthy of starting out as friends first. And friendship is such a valuable and vital part of any healthy relationship, but especially a divine partnership. And I had noticed that the people that, I know who the karmics are, because when I say to them, I'm not interested in going into deeper places. Right now I'm looking at friendship first. They will often either try to lure me into deeper conversations, or they will just pretty much ghost, like, not talk, not be interested, and things like that. And in the past, I would have taken that as an indication, like a validation of my insecurities, that I wasn't worth it to them to just be friends with. And now, and that feels icky. Even just saying that right now, that feels icky. Like, to think that I am not worthy of having of having their attention just as a friend. That's because that's not true, and that's not in alignment with my inner being, and it's judgmental of them and of myself. And so I can change that instead and say, oh, you know what? The fact that I'm no longer rendezvousing with these people, the fact that me being in a good vibration, and being in a place of self-worth, it's not that, well, I mean, some of them it rubs the wrong way, and others are just bored with that, and others are just not, they don't feel compelled to come towards that anymore. They are showing me that I am healing, and that I'm no longer rendezvousing with people that are in low vibrations, which means that the people that I am connecting with, the people that I do feel called to connect with and who feel called to connect with me, are either in a high vibration with me or very close. And some of the karmics will continue, at least for mine, they will continue to try to pursue things, and they will be interested in going the direction that you're going, but you'll notice kind of this fly in, drop off, fly in, drop off, fly in, drop off, and it's like they're learning things from you. They're learning about their inner being, but like your light is so radiant, and your ability to sit smoothly within your emotions without having to discipline them, like you're just comfortable with who you are and your self-worth. They come in and they learn little bits, and then they go, and then they go through some sort of life lesson, and then they come back. And that again affirms that, the people that are coming back in when you're using your emotional VPS are either learning from you, or they're in alignment with you, or they are contrast for you to choose who you want to be, and whether or not you want to continue on a healing path or on a karmic path. And I feel like this is something that could take chapters of books to really write about, and I'm already after 30 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and bring this down a little bit, and I will do some more talks about learning to understand your emotional VPS/GPS. But for right now, Divine Femmes and Empresses, really start allowing your perspective of contrast to go through a metamorphosis with everyone, and look at each thing that comes through to you, like rather than, if you see a counselor or a therapist, or you talk to your parents or your friends, when they talk with you and you get their feedback, don't attach it to, don't worry about pleasing them or disappointing them. Just listen to what's coming through and decide, is this in alignment with who I am and who I want to be? Or is it in alignment with current new me? Or is it in alignment with old me? And, let that pendulum swing. There is no rush. You have divine timing. You got plenty of time. Trust me. You're learning patience is definitely a part of the divine journey. You got time. You don't need to rush it. You don't need to do anything right now. Just in learning to understand yourself and your emotional epicenter is what you should be doing right now. And you have plenty of time to do that. Plenty of time. Spirit's got your back. You've got your back. And even if they're not displaying it very well right now, your divine masculine has your back too. All right, everybody, please feel free to offer some feedback, ask any questions, or suggest any new topics that you'd like to hear about in the comments below.